Welcome to the Video Club of Laguna Wood's Goldie Awards. This year we held our 12th annual awards ceremony on February 24th at the Village Green's Club 19 restaurant. I'm Susan Wheeler, and in a moment we'll be showing the 11 entries submitted for 2022. Now, just a few words. In order to qualify, each entry had to be member-produced and be 4 minutes or less. Now, this year, we had several members who participated for the very first time. And maybe one of these videos will even inspire you to try your hand at producing your own video. Now, following the videos, we'll hear from the winners, as voted on by the Video Club members. So, sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show.
Our trip to Alaska was one of many. We hit the road with Coco and Bailey in search of incredible landscapes, experience abundant wildlife, and sample a taste of the last frontier. We arrived in Hyder, the easternmost town known as the friendliest ghost town in Alaska, and if you can down a shot of grain alcohol, you got Hyderized. From the Cassiar Highway to Dawson City, where unfortunately we did not find any gold, we took a short ferry across the Yukon River and drove the top-of-the-world highway, if you call it a highway, for 125 miles on this narrow, windy road, often in the rain and in the mud, to Chicken, where we stopped for a much-needed drink and a bite to eat. We gained our composure and washed the rig, moved on, our destination, Valdez, Alaska. The drive was filled with natural beauty, scenic and eye-peeling in every direction. The city of Valdez lies at the head of Port Valdez, a natural fjord that reaches inland about 11 miles from the Prince William Sound. It's famous for being the end of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline and the oil spill of 1989. Present-day Valdez is the original Valdez town site. The city was relocated after the devastating 1964 earthquake. Our time in Valdez was well spent when we boarded the Valdez Spirit for a day in the Prince William Sound. We saw abundant wildlife in the water and on the shoreline. And before the captain turned the boat around, we were graced with a close-up of Mirrors Glacier calving. A number of fishing boats transferring their daily catch for processing, and small boats crabbing. As the salmon began to run, the bears were hungry, and we decided to say goodbye to our scenic RV spot and head to Homer via ferry. Arriving in Whittier, we traveled the longest dual-use highway tunnel in North America, called the Whittier Tunnel. Homer is the halibut capital of the world. Its distinguishing feature, the Homer Spit, a narrow 4.5-long gravel bar where we parked our rig and enjoyed many beautiful evenings. The highlight of Homer was sharing Katmai National Park with our kids and grandson Max. Alaska contains about 70% of the total North American brown bear population, and about 2,200 are estimated to inhabit the park. Visiting Alaska would not be complete without visiting Denali National Park and a plane ride to Ruth Glacier. On this adventure, we flew to Coldfoot, drove across the Arctic Circle, followed the pipeline for 175 miles. We were nearly eaten alive by the mosquito, the Alaska state bird, No harm, no foul, as the moose occupy the road, and poor Bailey, who nearly escaped being lunch for a bald eagle. And at the end of our journey, we were really hoping the roads wouldn't win, but they did. We will be back.
Why are men still wearing ties? It doesn't make them handsome. It doesn't make them wise. So why, oh why, are men still wearing ties? They no longer wear suspenders. Top hats are passé. Women don't wear corsets. They too have had their day. So why do men insist on ties? They just get in the way. We still use pen and paper. But typewriters don't exist. And now we use computers to print our shopping lists. So ties are just another thing that men should just resist. Encourage men to move ahead. Forget the old conventions. Those ties should join top hats and tails. And corsets too, I'll mention. Away with ties. They make no sense. Wake up and pay attention. Get rid of those ties. Of course, for all of you who wouldn't know what to give a man as a Christmas present if ties didn't exist, may I suggest an electric mixer for those that bake bread. A new computer for using their heads. An exercycle. Or a treadmill instead. I know they're expensive, but that being said, no more ties.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Martin. I'm a Video Club member. I'm here to introduce my film, which is called Greenfields, a paradoxical music video. Now, a paradox is something that has contradictory features or qualities, and the purpose of it is to create fresh thought. In film, you can use paradoxical elements, such as music with images that are contradictory to one another, to elicit emotional response, to cause the audience to think on a deeper level. So I believe that my video has some of those paradoxical elements in it, and I hope you enjoy.
Kissed by the sun. Once there were valleys where rivers used to run. Once there were blue skies with white clouds high above. Once they were part of an everlasting love. We were the lovers who strove through green fields. Green fields are gone now, parched by the sun. Gone from the valleys where rivers used to run. Gone with the cold wind that swept into my heart. Gone with the lovers who let their dreams depart. Where are the green fields that we used to roam? I'll never know what made you run away. How can I keep searching when dark clouds hide the day? I only know there's nothing here for me. Nothing in this wide world left for me to see. But I'll keep on waiting till you return. I'll keep on waiting until the day burns. You can't be happy while your heart's on the road. You can't be happy until you bring it home. Home to the green fields and me once again.
Sometimes I wonder if I know where I'm going. I go for a walk like this, and it seems I have been walking for years and years and years, and I don't know where I'm going. I hear the sound leading me on, and I don't know where it is taking me. I see people rushing someplace. They seem to know where they're going. And they're getting there in such a hurry. But where am I going? You know where you're going. Maybe you could tell me, and then I could go along with you.
What's the matter with you, bud? You in a fog?
I'm sorry. I figure that someday everything will clear up. And then I'll know where I'm going. Sometimes I feel as if I'm getting closer. Like now. Yes, I am getting closer. You hear? The sound is getting louder. Yes. But it's getting blacker. And blacker. And blacker.
Help! 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 Help!
When your mom and I were dating, there was a song on the hit parade called Sherry. And it was sung by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. It didn't have anything to do with choosing your name, but the lyrics kind of express some of the fun that you bring to the world. So I decided I'd make a slideshow gift for you using that song in the background. So listen now to the slideshow and have a very Merry Christmas.
We'll dance the night away. I'm gonna My name is Kaylee McDonald, and I am a pediatric physical therapist. I work every Wednesday at the Laguna Beach Assistance League in a program of early intervention for special needs children birth to 1 year of age. I've been here for the last 43 years, and every day is like a new day of work. It's so exciting what we do, what we bring to parents, both mothers and fathers, letting them know that that child with special needs is going to have a special place in their heart that they never even could imagine. The Assistance League is what helps us to provide this for the parents. They come here free of charge. What happens at the end of the program, parents go for 1 hour session with the marriage and family therapist to sit and talk about feelings and emotions. And it's then when the Assistance League ladies come in to hold and love these babies on a one-to-one basis, where the parents can actually leave them with no worries, no problems.
Look at this. Still got the tax on it. This was $180 and now it's $5.
Yep, the locals call this the Nordstroms of the thrift stores.
I grew up in a once prosperous New York mill town that had fallen on hard times. The quaint turn-of-the-century homes on Main Street had become eyesores. The exception was a grand Victorian with a front hedge and a wrap-around porch. Last year it sold for over $1 million, which would have been unthinkable when I was growing up in the early 1960s. It's now become an Airbnb. But back then, when I was a kid, it was owned by a famous Broadway actor, Herb Hatfield. He would drive in from Manhattan with his friends and would stay for a week or two before driving back to his apartment in the city. I sometimes would see him walking to the post office wearing a velvet smoking jacket and slippers. Hatfield was a classically trained Shakespearean actor, but he'd become best known for his role in Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray. The New Yorker magazine called the movie an instant classic and described Hatfield's performance as brilliant. I hadn't ever read a copy of the New Yorker magazine back then, and truth be told, the only movie I had ever seen was The Sound of Music. All I knew was that Hatfield was a faggot. It's what me and my friends used to shout as we ran across his front porch and overturned his trash cans on our way to school. Only one morning the front door suddenly opened and a hand reached out and grabbed me by my collar. Hatfield pulled me into the entryway of his home. My first thought was to kick him in the shins and make a run for it, but I couldn't. I was frozen, a mixture of fear, but wonder too. I had never been inside such a luxurious home. It was like stepping into another world, and I was stepping into another world, a place where men wore smoking jackets and slippers when they opened their mail. "Why do you children torture me?" he asked. I couldn't think of anything to say, so I blurted out the truth. "Because you're a faggot." "What's a faggot?" he asked. I actually didn't know what a faggot was. That's just what the fathers in town called him. Hatfield didn't call the police or my parents or anyone else. He invited me into his sitting room for tea, and what he said were scones and jam. No one had ever offered me tea before. That's what Mom drank. And scones, they turned out to be fancy biscuits. In the years ahead, I would never call a person a faggot again, and made damn sure that my son never would either. And when AIDS arrived on the scene, along with the homophobia that came with it, I joined others to try and fight the hysteria and ignorance. Hatfield's graciousness had touched me in a fundamental way, and others too as a consequence. That's the ripple effect. He could have called the police, thrown an angry fit, but instead sent me home with scones wrapped in a linen napkin for my mother. I eventually moved to Hollywood and became a writer. Hatfield bought a manor house in Ireland. That house, too, coincidentally, is available on Airbnb. Maybe someday I'll get to stay there. But that's not the whole story. The year I published my first book, my wife and I attended a dinner party at my agent's house in Pasadena. It was one of those elegant and intimate affairs, 8 or 10 people with candles on the table and a private chef in the kitchen. And who was I seated across from? Herd Hatfield. What are the odds? Hatfield was in LA auditioning for the role of Luke Skywalker's grandfather in Star Wars. And now here we were at an elegant dinner party in California, nearly 3,000 miles away from where our paths had last crossed. By way of an introduction, I asked if he had ever owned a New England Victorian house, a beautiful white home with yellow trim, carpets on the stairs, and potted plants on the wraparound porch. Surprised, he said he had. He had renovated it himself. Then I asked about how the children in that small town had tormented him. He was shocked. How could I know this? That's when I issued a long overdue apology.
We had an apartment in the city. Me and my husband liked living there. It's been years since the kids have grown a life of their own, left us alone. John and Linda live in Omaha. Joe is somewhere on the road. We lost Davy in the Korean War. I still don't know what for. Don't matter anymore. You know that old trees just grow stronger, and old rivers grow wilder every day. But old people, they just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there. Hello. Me and my husband, we don't talk much anymore. He sits and stares through the back door screen, and all the news just repeats itself. like some forgotten dream that we've both seen. Someday I'll go and call up Judy. We worked together at the factory. Ah, but what would I say when she asks what's new? Say nothing, what's with you? Nothing much to do. You know that old trees just grow stronger, and old rivers grow wilder every day. But old people, they just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there, hello. So if you're walking down the street sometime and you should spot some hollow ancient eyes, don't you pass them by and stare as if you didn't care. Say hello in there, hello.
Visiting the Zeus temple, one has a view up to the Acropolis. It's just an outstanding example of a Greek temple. Very, very few temples have all their columns standing.
Famous Pont du Gard. It was built by the Romans in the 1st century AD. The aqueduct used to carry about 50 million gallons of water per day.
Here's the Rome of antiquity. In the distance, the Colosseum. On top of the vineyard, there's a beautiful, beautiful basilica or church. And just witnessing a wedding in this magnificent, magnificent church. The Duomo of Siena. Inside the dome, the same stone construction as the outside walls, rather narrow, remote California missions. The Peña Palace is way up on the hill, overlooking the valley.
Versailles, the chateau was built by King Louis XIV, the incredible Hall of Mirrors. The Petit Trianon is one of several small palaces used by Marie Antoinette. The Hôtel des Invalides, which is a complex of buildings containing museums and monuments relating to the military history of France. Originally called Place Royale, it is the oldest planned square in Paris and one of the finest in the city. It was built in the 17th century, a true square and unique in that all house fronts were all built in the same design. The Old Town Square is centered around City Hall.
The Plaza Mayor. Plaza Mayor is considered one of Spain's most beautiful plazas. For huge steel buildings built early 1900. One of the restored buildings is now a business school.
Like it?
It was awesome.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh God, yeah.
Is that all you have to say? It was awesome?
It was something that I will never forget.
Fantastic.
I'm speechless, which is rare.
My shoe is falling apart.
You don't have the steps either.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, happy birthday.
Now, here are the Video Club members that submitted entries this year, and we want to thank all of them for their participation. So, which one was your favorite? Well, let's see how the club members voted. Drum roll, please. Third place went to Marcia Berman for An Amazing Adventure. And now we asked Marcia why she chose to do a film on Alaska.
I chose Alaska because my husband and I have traveled there several times, and I have a lot of content that I thought might be interesting to share with an audience. And at the same time, it forced me to learn iMovie and Keynote in a very short period of time in order to enter a video into the Video Club's contest. Well, I thought Alaska would be a great opportunity to share our experiences with you since we've been there several times. This video captures a little bit about 2 trips that we took when we drove to Alaska towing our rig. On one of those trips, we flew my stepdaughter, her husband, and our grandson, Max. And they were with us for 15 days while we shared as much as we could about the culture of Alaska, taking them to the Native Heritage Center. We flew and walked with the bears. We introduced Max to a life that he would not otherwise experience at home. Being 8 years old, we felt he was old enough to appreciate Alaska. And for us, we have done so much, and each time we go back, it is a unique experience. Alaska is constantly changing, whether it's the wildlife we see, the boat trips that we take, the birds that we experience. We plan to come back really soon.
And second place Goldie Award went to club member Starkey for championing young lives. Shortly after moving to Laguna Beach in 1965, a neighbor told Starkey about the Assistance League and how every dime went to philanthropy. So, Starkey has been joyfully shopping and donating ever since, and she wanted to celebrate the work and contributions of the Assistance League of Laguna Beach with you, the residents of Laguna Woods. And now, first place winner went to Sydney Fitzpatrick for the apology. We wanted to know what inspired him to make the video.
Hooray! First place prize. I love it. I'm often asked, what inspired me to do this short little video. And the short answer is real simple. I spent the last 40 plus years writing other people's stories and decided to take a step back and tell a little bit of my own. What I was really trying to convey here is the ripple effect, that how one person's kindness, one moment like that has a cascading effect and can influence and impact your life. And in this case, homosexuality in the little village that I was growing up at, was frowned upon, and there was a lot of discrimination, and how the generosity, the graciousness with which Herd Hatfield welcomed me had a profound impact on my life and how I treated gay men and women, literally for the rest of my life, and how when AIDS came along and all the homophobia that went with it, I think I was able to make some kind of impact, however modest. And so Herd, if you're there in some other dimension, thank you. Coming to Laguna Woods is certainly an opportunity to explore a whole lot of things that I've always wanted to do. And one of those things I've done is I've taken a video editing class at Saddleback. And boy, what fun that was. And, this video is really my first creation from that class. So telling this story came very naturally. I come from a very large family of writers, of creators. My mom started writing thinly veiled stories about my dad when I was in diapers. My grandfather was a book editor. Both my sisters are writers. My older sister retired from National Geographic. My younger sister's probably on her 6th or 7th book. My kids, I have one of my sons is an editor of the Washington Post. So, I guess I come by this legitimately, and there was never any question in my mind about what I was going to do for a living. And that's just what I've done. One of my real regrets is that I didn't get to visit his mansion in Ireland, which is a bed and breakfast. Perhaps someday I'll take the kids on the road and we'll go do that, and we'll look up possibly some of Herd Hatfield's relatives, and I can introduce myself.
Okay. And now, before we leave you, we'd like to ask, do you have any of these at home? Because these, along with other things, will deteriorate with age, and you may not even have a device you can play them on anymore. Well, the Video Club can help you to preserve these special memories, so stop by our lab near Clubhouse 2, and we can show you how to convert them to DVDs or digitize them for more effective long-term storage. Well, that's our show for this year, and we'll leave you with a slideshow from our awards banquet. I'm Susan Wheeler, speaking for the Video Club of Laguna Woods. Thank you for watching.